what your role is here.
Yes. So Awake Ministries is a faith-based residential recovery program. It is 4 months in length. We have a men's house and we have a women's house. People are in full-time recovery while they're here, so they're not working. And that's basically who we are. We also, I'm not going to talk about this a lot because I know that you're here more for the recovery aspect, but we have the largest food bank in the region right down the road. And my role is I'm the executive director. And what that means is that the programming largely falls on me as far as the development, the management of it, the recruiting of it, and then I'm over the leadership here, which we have a men's director for the men's house, a women's director, so they're directly under me, as well as some other key staff members. So just, overseeing the programming and the facilitation of the recovery program day to day is my main job.
Okay. How many people do you serve at one time in this program?
So we have the men's house. We have a full house at 10 men, and then the women's house is a little bit smaller. So their full program is 6. So 16 people in full-time recovery at any time. And then we will do some outpatient if we feel like the person is truly committed to the process and not just wanting someone to sign off on their papers. We don't do that very often because we don't find that it is very fruitful. But every once in a while we'll find a person that we feel like could really benefit and would adhere to the program, and we will take outpatient every once in a while.
What are the age ranges that you serve at this program?
Yeah, so you have to be 18 to enter the program. So we have had a few 18-year-olds before. I will say it's very difficult for someone that young to be disciplined enough if they're, already in the throes of, having some sort of substance use issue. It's difficult. It's difficult for young people, but we have had a few people go through the program that are 18, 19 years old. And then we've had people all the way up to the age of, say, mid-60s. So, we don't really, base who will admit on age, but, we do see a variety. I would say if I had to guess the average age, late 20s to mid 40s.
You did say that the program is 4 months long. So is that for everybody? It's 4 months, or does other people stay longer in the program?
So it's a 4-month minimum, which is considered long-term recovery. Anything over 3 months is considered long-term. So it's a 4-month, and like I said, it's the minimum requirement because we use the Celebrate Recovery curriculum. That's the only curriculum that we use. And the first 30 days is what we call an acclimation period, where people are detoxing, getting used to our structure, our, just the ins and outs of how the program works itself, getting their head cleared, settling in. And then after the first 30 days, then they start their step work, and that step work takes 3 months. So that's why it's a 4-month minimum. But we have had people that have stayed longer, either because the court required it for them to fulfill, a sentence or probation or parole requirement or something like that, or just because they really were challenged with, doing the work. Sometimes it takes people longer to process their life, and so we try to show grace in that area, and people have stayed longer if they've needed to.
Is there different levels in the program? So they are in this program for a while. When do they go to the paddock? When is that process?
Okay. So the first 30 days is acclimation. And then after that time, they enter into the next level, which is beginning step work, which is also entering into an internship, which we own the Paddock Coffee Shop. And so that they're getting experience in food and hospitality. So that's also after I'm just going to put these somewhere else. So that's also after the first 30 days. After the first 30 days, they get one phone call a week. They get a family visit on Sunday afternoons. So those are the 2 privileges that they gain after 30 days. And then there really aren't any other levels beyond that, but we are working on right now developing a phase 2 of recovery that a person would enter into after completing the 4-month program.
So when they come here, do they, I guess, turn in their cell phones to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like their cell phones or any kind of connection out to the world that they came from?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Does this recovery program take medical insurance?
It does not. So that's one of the ways I feel like Awake is different and unique, is that we're completely donor funded. We've gone back and forth with the idea of accepting insurance before, because when you're a nonprofit and you're having to fundraise your money and you need money, you're constantly thinking of and seeing people, other like larger recovery centers that bill insurance, and they're doing really well and have a lot of staff, and and we've visited that conversation a few times. But what happens is when an agency accepts insurance for recovery or other things, I'm sure, you have to go through the state accreditation program. And that puts stipulations on you, expectations, such as being a MAT center. So if we were to take insurance and be state accredited, we would also be required to be medically staffed and to basically administer MAT treatment, medical assisted treatment like Suboxone, methadone, Vivitrol, all the things. We are a holistic program. So we have chosen, we feel like our mission, it isn't for everyone, and it's no judgment against people that do it differently. But for us, being faith-based, being holistic, we believe that God, that we are new creations in the Lord, and that He can give us the power to overcome our addictions. And so that's just who we are and the way that we want to do it. And so it's worked for us. It's not without its challenges, because we do have to fundraise for everything that we do here, for the houses, for the staff, for the vehicles and the transportation. I mean, it is all because we have support from our community. So we don't take that for granted, but it is challenging for sure.
Does Awake work with any local agencies in the county or in the state?
So local agencies that we work with, what would you name like a local agency, like health department?
Like the health department, okay, or the detention center?
Okay. Oh yeah. So yes, of course we work with the detention center, because most of the people that come into our program are here as an alternative sentence to jail. So each county has what's called an ASW, alternative sentence worker, and their job is to identify people that are in jail on a drug or alcohol related charge, and to decide, is this person a good candidate for recovery? Because most jails, I'm pretty familiar with the one here in Shelby County and a few others, but they're not really providing or not even, mandating that people get help while they're in jail. So it's difficult because being incarcerated is punishment, but it's not rehabilitation. It's very different. So we then are forming relationships with these alternative sentence workers in Shelby and surrounding counties. There are a few of them that know us well, know the work we do, and love it, and they feed us people regularly. And so that's good. So once that person is here then in the program, they are satisfying their sentence, which means they have to stay and finish it. And if they don't, then they have to report back to jail, or if they just up and leave, then there's a warrant out for their arrest. So that is a good motivator to keep people in the program. But they do know before they come here that we are a faith-based program. It's not anything that we're like, surprise, here's your Bible. People know what they're entering into, and we just ask. We're not asking them to sign a faith statement or anything like that. They just have to be open, knowing that that is the spiritual aspect of what we do is the biggest part of our program. So that's an agency that we work with closely. Probation and parole, of course. CPS, we work with them. Many of the women and a few men, but mostly women that come through are in our program to satisfy a requirement for their CPS case. So we do see a lot with them as well. Those are the main agencies that we work with. Sometimes drug court, every once in a while, we will work with them, but those are the main ones.
Work with